I'm going to call this meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Three of five of our members are here tonight. Notice to the public. Any member of the public wishing to address the governing board on a topic within the subject matter jurisdiction of the district, but not on the agenda, may do so during public comment period identified in this agenda. By law, subjects not on the agenda cannot be acted upon by the board except to briefly respond, clarify, or refer to staff for review and presentation at a future meeting. The board president will recognize you for public comment on matters on the agenda at the appropriate time. Is there any public comment? Seeing none. Move on to correspondence. Is there any correspondence?
None.
No correspondence. Consent agenda, there is none. Public comment, public comment, no public comment, as there is no public, other than those watching at home. Guests and presentations?
None.
None. Director's report. I bet there is one.
Yes.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. I have some statistics on children's activities. This is a list of things that Jim's done as far as outreach to the schools since he started. Visits to preschools. He's been to Gretchen Higgins 4 times, World Changers 4 times, Bert and Ernie's 3 times, and Anderson 8 times. As far as the regular school visits, he's given 2 presentations to the entire Gretchen Higgins population, probably around 400 students he estimates. Anderson Kindergarten, he's been 18 times there and 6 times to the grades 1 through 3. And he's been to Tremont 3 times too. So he's been really active in trying to reach out to the schools. He's setting up visits to go to the schools in May to talk about the summer reading program. And he's having weekly meetings with Dave, who's the new head of the teen center, to try and work out some programs with them and kind of have some kind of cooperative ventures with them in the near future.
Great.
We have a couple of events coming up. We have a free bike repair coming up on March 19th. People can bring their bicycles and they'll be repaired for free. I think up to 30 bicycles is what they're saying.
Who's going to do the repair?
Same group that came last year. A bunch of guys from Berkeley come out and do this
So
as like a
cool.
free service.
Oh, that's really nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. And Jim's also doing a family reading night at Anderson from 6 to 7 on April the 14th. Summer Reading Club is starting in May, goes through August the 7th. The Friends of the Library have given us $3,000 to book shows for the Summer Reading Club. So far we have a magician, a cowgirl who come and do like rope tricks and that sort of thing. Extreme science, puppet art theater, a ventriloquist, and an animal show is what we've got booked so far. And that's pretty much it for the director's report.
Sounds great. Any questions on the director's report?
No, just for the record, I'm at the meeting.
Okay.
What time do those events usually happen? Like the magician and the cowgirl?
Those are all at 10:30 in the morning. Last year we were able to book them all on Thursdays. This year they're going to be various days of the week, so we'll try and inform everyone of that.
Cool.
All right. Ongoing business. Addition to vacation policy. And this item is information, discussion, and action.
Yeah, I have a copy of the vacation leave. There's a separate sheet, a couple sheets later in the packet that has the proposed addition to that, and then also one for 11A too that we'll talk about in a few minutes. But last time it was pointed out that there wasn't anything that that required the employees to submit their request for vacation time. The language I would like added to 3020.3 would be employees must submit their request to take vacation time to the library director in advance. I didn't really want to specify a number of days before they asked that, just in case we have the situation where somebody's used up all their sick leave and a family emergency comes up
Right.
and they need to take vacation time instead of
We
sick.
discussed that at the last meeting.
Yeah,
That makes sense. And so your, request of us tonight is that we approve the proposed addition?
yeah,
Those
just a
proposed
simple
additions
addition saying that they have to submit their request to me in
In
advance.
advance, okay.
So this would be added at the end of 3020.03?
Yes.
Okay. That's fine.
Is there any discussion on that item? There's no public comment because there's no public, so I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. And that is adopted. Update on Miller Building, information and discussion.
I had a meeting with an architect and his structural engineer. We went through the Miller Building. They think that the building is probably unreinforced masonry. The structural engineer wants to come back and actually do a couple drillings and make sure that that's indeed the case. He said that it was like so painted over that it was kind of hard to tell, but that's what the architect and the structural engineer thought just by looking at the building. Unreinforced masonry walls, they don't have a grid of steel reinforcing bars, and so they're not as sturdy as modern buildings. In earthquake areas in the country, you can't build modern buildings in this way because they're not sturdy enough.
If he does find that it's unreinforced masonry, then that would be inconsistent with the architecture's report that we got 2 years ago, and would suggest that rather than renovating the Miller Building, we should probably abandon that idea, because it's not safe to have the public in a building with unreinforced masonry in California.
But we're going to have further confirmation of that?
Yeah, he's supposed to come back out and then give recommendations after he looks.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other questions on that item? Okay. All right, new business. Addition to policy 4001, rules of conduct.
This one, it was listed as information, discussion, and action. Actually, it's something that we won't be able to vote on tonight because the attorney added his suggested language after the agenda was posted and the supporting documentation was posted.
I saw Scott's email after our discussion earlier today about this item, and I do have two comments, and I don't think that Scott's email correctly describes the problem, and let me explain. Although he does say, we're both saying the same thing, which is essentially, it's a different situation if the minor is on a school-related function versus a non-school-related function. On a non-school-related function, the school district separate from the library district, there is no ability of the school district to discipline some student who's not on a school-related function, and it's also a privacy issue. If the school's not going to notify the library when they discipline students, and the library shouldn't be notifying the schools when they discipline students, except on school-related functions. So I think you have to, in the attorney's verbiage, I think you have to add the language at the end of sentence 2 that says the library director may also contact the minor school and inform the principal or designee of such occurrences, and then you add the following words. If the minor was at the library in connection with a school-related activity. If the minor was at the library in connection with a school-related activity. And also, the language up above, in the section above that, says, proposed addition to policy 4001, rules of conduct number 9. If repeat offenders or juveniles under the age of 14, it says the library will contact. That's one of the objections I had, was that's not discretionary, that's a mandatory word. So that needs to be changed to may contact, okay? And again, the only time when the library should be contacting the school is when it's a school-related function or activity. Otherwise, it's an invasion of the privacy rights of the minor and the family.
Okay.
Well, I don't know that it always is, I mean, I think that at some point in time, if you're looking for more information on a student, that you know goes to a certain school, and you have their first name, and you're trying to get information, and they're not willing to give it to you, I think you can contact the school to find that out. I think that's why we work closely with the libraries and the schools.
Oh, if you're just identifying the student, that's a different issue. But if you're reporting violations, that's an invasion of privacy unless it's a school-related function. The Ed Code's very clear that school districts can only discipline students for activities occurring on school grounds or at school functions away from the school. So the issue was, are we reporting violations, not whether we're trying to specifically identify students. That's a different issue.
I'd like to interject something that Scott got back to me later in the afternoon. He sent me a text saying that under the Ed Code 48900, parentheses S, the school has the discretion to discipline students when going to or from school or a school-related activity.
That's right.
He said if students are on the way home from school and stop at the library and then get into a fight, the school could discipline the students.
Right.
The statute is silent as to a time frame, but that in the past he has advised schools a
Okay.
30-minute window.
I don't believe that's correct. If a student is going to the library and not going home, and there's a disconnect there in a sense between when they leave the school and they go to the library, an event that occurs at the library is separate from a school-related function. And I understand what he's saying, but I think you're going to get into issues with reporting to the school disciplinary actions taken at the library just because the students happen to be attending school earlier in the day. I don't think that necessarily fits under the four corners of that statute.
I think that students often go to the library after school to work on school projects, and they go with their school friends, and we know that often kids who are not considered home until they actually get to their driveway, and certainly in 30 minutes, if that's what he advises, that's plenty of time to get into trouble in the library. I think that making it permissive is an appropriate use in this point. In this case, I don't know that we need to. I don't know there's any reason that we can't make it permissive.
We've made it permissive. That's what the May is about. It's discretionary.
Right.
Before it was mandatory, and that's now been changed.
Right, so he could contact the schools if he needed to, because it's on their way home.
No, I think that's, what really is the case is, are we going to sit here and quibble about whether the event occurred within 30 minutes of when they left the school grounds or not? And did they happen to go to the library versus going home? I mean, really what's going to happen is, unless it's a school-related function, it's going to be a potential Government Tort Claims Act claim for invasion of privacy. The school and the library district are separate legal entities. The law is very clear about we can't discipline students, for example, about what they do on the internet, even if they do it within 30 minutes after leaving school. So I don't know what gives us a greater right to do it just because they happen to be at the library. Anyway.
Can I give a little bit of background information as to
Sure.
how this occurred or why this happened? We had 4 kids from one of the elementary schools who were coming to the library and exhibiting in disruptive behaviors every day. They were disruptive in November and December. They were asked to leave several times, but then there was a period where 10 school days in a row, they were asked to leave the library because of disruptive behavior. One kid threw a chair, foul language, racist language, not paying attention to library staff.
Did you contact the parents?
Well, I did not have the kids' last names.
Oh.
So we knew that they went to Anderson, so I contacted the principal there. She said that she knew who the kids were. She could not give me last names or addresses, but if I wrote a letter, she was willing to send on a letter to the kids' parents, which is how it was handled. And the letter stated that the parents needed to contact me they needed to contact me either verbally or by letter, requesting that their children be allowed back in the library, and they would be banned up to a year if I did not hear from the parents. So far, I haven't heard from any of the parents, and this was a couple weeks ago.
I think you handled it appropriately.
And the kids haven't come back except you said one kid?
The one kid came back and apologized to the children's librarian for his behavior, but Jim told him that he would still have to have his parents contact me before he would be allowed back in the building.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Fine.
These are fifth graders.
Yeah, they were all fifth graders.
And that is what the school district has to do, rather than release information to you, is contact with the parents directly themselves. So
That's good.
they handled it correctly, too.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So we're not going to take action tonight because the language wasn't available at the posting on Monday. So we'll take action next week. This is just an item for discussion tonight.
Okay.
I'm requesting when you bring it back that you make those two changes, that the word "will" be changed to "may," so it's
Okay.
discretionary, and that you add that language at the end of sentence 2 in Scott's addition.
Okay.
And I would just request that we have that all reviewed by Scott as well.
Yeah, please.
Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
And we are on approval of minutes for February 11th, 2016. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Since I wasn't there. Somebody second?
Is there a second on the minutes? I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Last item is the resignation of Andy from the library board.
Can I turn that over to you
Sure.
since you've already?
So the letter we received from the school board, I forwarded on, had Cicely forwarded on to Steve, so that we can officially accept Andy's resignation from the library board as well. So I will entertain a motion to accept his resignation from the library board tonight. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Comment? I'm very sorry. I think the board as a whole is very sorry to see Andy resign. Andy is a great board member, and obviously we all hope that his daughter has a full recovery and that everything works out for his family.
Yes.
All those in favor of accepting Andy's resignation?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And seeing no other business, the meeting is adjourned.